Hello, welcome to Spectacular Sports, and here's my 2023 NFL predictions. So last in the division, I'm going with the New England Patriots with a record of 7-10. I think that their defense is pretty good and their coaching staff is decent, but I think anything more than 7 would be a miracle, and anything less that would be disappointing. In third, I'm going with the New York Jets. I think that Aaron Rodgers is not an MVP candidate anymore. I still think he's decent. And then I think that their offense is pretty good with the receivers and running back. And I think that the defense is also very good. So 9-8 for the Jets. And second, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. I've heard that Stephon Diggs wants out. So even if he is gone, the offense will still be top 10 with Josh Allen, who's an MVP candidate, and then a bunch of other good playmakers on offense. And their defense is still very good. So I have them going 11-6. And in first, I'm going with a surprise to some people. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins at 11-6. I think that Tua can stay healthy. They're a Super Bowl contender with that amazing offense and defense that got a lot of pieces this offseason. Next is the AFC West, and last I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders with a record of 5-12. I think that their defense is so bad outside of Chandler Jones and Mac Crosby, and their offense has a couple good pieces, but I don't think they're going to be that good. And third, I'm going with the Los Angeles Chargers with a record of 8-9. I think that Justin Herbert is pretty good, and their offense will be pretty good. I think their defense is pretty bad, and same with their coaching. So 8-9 for the Chargers. And second, I'm going with the Denver Broncos. I think that Sean Payton can make Russell Wilson his form in Seattle, and I think that their offense will take a step up, and their defense will still be very good. So yeah, I got them at 9-8. And in first, I'm going with the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, at 12-5. I don't think there's any explanation needed. Next up, we have the AFC North, and last I'm going with the Browns at a record of 8-9. I think that Deshaun Watson is decent, and I think that their offense is also pretty good outside of him, and their defense is decent. So yeah, 8-9 for the Browns. Third, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 10-7 record. I think that their defense is very good, and I think that Kenny Pickett can take a step up. So yeah, 10-7 for the Steelers. Second, I got the Baltimore Ravens with an 11-6 record. I think that if Lamar Jackson stays healthy, their offense is going to be very good with the new receivers they added, and their defense is still very good. So yeah, I got them at 11-6. And first, I got the Cincinnati Bengals at 12-5. I think that their roster is just loaded on offense, and they have also a lot of good players on defense. So yeah, I got them at 12-5. Next, we have the AFC South, and last I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts. I think that Anthony Richardson isn't that developed, and their entire offense is kind of young. I think Jonathan Taylor will have a comeback here, but yeah, and their defense is not that good, so I got them at 4-13. Next up, we have the Houston Texans. I think they'll go 5-12. I think C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson will be very good rookies, but I think that they have a lot of holes on their roster, so I have them at 5-12. And second, I'm going with the Tennessee Titans with a record of 6-11. I think that they'll be definitely worse than last year. I don't know. I think their quarterback situation is very odd, and I just think that their defense and offense are below average. So I have them at 6-11. And in first in the division, I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars with a record of 12-5. I think that Trevor Lawrence is a very good quarterback, and I think Doug Peterson saved this team. And yeah, I think that they'll be competing for the AFC's top seed. So I have them going 12-5. Next up, we have the NFC East, and in fourth, I'm going with the Washington Commanders with a record of 6-11. I think that their defense is pretty good, and I think Terry McLaurin is a good receiver on offense, but I don't think they'll be any better than 6 wins. And third, I'm going with the New York Giants with a record of 9-8. I think that Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones can carry this offense, and I think that their defense is still very good. So I have them at 9-8 and third in the division. And second, I have the Dallas Cowboys with a record of 12-5. I think that their roster is very loaded on offense and defense. I just think that the thing holding them back from even more wins is the coaching. So, yeah. And in first, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning NFC champs, with a record of 12-5 and the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. I think that the roster is just very, very unfair, and it's just like they might be the most complete team in the NFL right now. Next, we have the NFC West, and then last, I'm going with the Cardinals with a record of 2-15. I think that they have no one on offense. Budda Baker once out, and that's like their only good player left. And Kyler Murray is not going to be there for most of the season, so I think it's going to be a rough year for the Cardinals. And third, I'm going to Los Angeles Rams. I think that their team is very interesting. I think that Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald are still very good players, but outside of those three people, I don't think that they have much talent. And second, I'm going with my favorite team, the Seattle Seahawks, with a record of 11-6. I think that our roster is very well built, and I think Geno Smith will have another pretty good year. So yeah, I have them at 11-6. And in first, although I hate to say it, I have the San Francisco 49ers with a record of 13-4. I think that when Brock Purdy comes back in week 1, their team doesn't really need a good quarterback because their roster is so loaded. So I have them at 13-4. Next up, we have the NFC North, and then last, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers with a record of 7-10. Now, I think Jordan Love's actually pretty decent because he sat behind one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, in Aaron Rodgers, for a couple years. And I think that their defense is still pretty good, but I think their offense will be a little interesting. So yeah, I have them at 7-10. And third, I'm going with the Chicago Bears with a record of 7-10. Now, I think they've had a great offseason. I think that Justin Fields is going to have a big step forward in his passing with DJ Moore. So, yeah, I think their defense is still going to be kind of bad, but I have them at 7-10. And second, I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings with a record of 8-9. I think that Justin Jefferson will have another very good season, and their entire offense will. But their defense is what's holding them down. So I think that their offense will win them 8 games, and their defense will lose them 9 games. And in first, I'm going with the Detroit Lions with a record of 10-7. I think that their offense is still going to be explosive. I think their defense is going to be decent. So yeah, I have them at 10-7 and winning the NFC North. So lastly, we have the NFC South. And then last, I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a record of 4-13. I think that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are going to be good players on the offense. I think their defense will still be decent, but I think that the step down from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield will lose them a lot of games. And third, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers with a record of 7-10. I think that Bryce Young, the first overall pick, will be decent. I think that he'll have a couple good weapons to use, and I think that their defense is going to let them down a little, but I have them at 7-10. And this was tough for me between the top 2 teams. And second, I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons with a record of 8-9. I think that Desmond Ridder is decent, and I think that Bijan Robinson will have a big part in this offense. And I think that their defense, with a bunch of new players, is pretty good. So I have them at 8-9. And in first, I'm going with the New Orleans Saints with a record of 9-8. Now, I think that they have the small edge over Atlanta because I think that their defense is better, and they also, I think Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Desmond Ridder, and I think that the rest of the players on the offense is pretty good. Here's the playoff picture for both conferences. In the AFC, the 1 seed is the Kansas City Chiefs, the 2 seed Cincinnati Bengals, 3 seed Jacksonville Jaguars, 4 seed Miami Dolphins, 5 seed Buffalo Bills, 6 seed Baltimore Ravens, and 7 seed Steelers. And the teams in the hunt would be the Jets, Broncos, Chargers, and Browns. In the NFC, it goes 1 seed 49ers, 2 seed Eagles, 3 seed Lions, 4 seed Saints, and the wild cards are the 5 seed Cowboys, 6 seed Seahawks, 7 seed Giants. And the teams in the hunt would be the Falcons, Vikings, Bears, and Panthers. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.